How many people are working on the base?
And that involves moving asylum seekers to large accommodation sites like this.
The Home Office are paying for that.
And they've got the nerve to tax me on my pension.
Is it really a suitable place for fighting age men to be housed? The decision being made on Thursday about the expansion of this base. Just one of you guys are preparing for that moment. What's this entrance used for? This is England, the England that generations before us fought to protect, a land of history, beauty and resilience. But today, this land is under siege. Not by war, but by betrayal. What was once a country of order and stability is now being flooded by illegal migrants, costing the taxpayer billions while leaving our people behind. And nowhere is this crisis more evident than here in Wethersfield, Essex. It's a very cold, blustery day, and I'm here in the village of Wethersfield, basically to try and understand how a village of a population of 1,200 is taking to the fact that right next to it in the old army barracks, 800 illegal migrants have effectively been shipped in and put there while their asylum cases are basically green lighted, and then they will be distributed elsewhere in the country.
From the front gate at the base, you can see the contractors busily coming and going. The government needs to be seen to be tackling the migration crisis, and that involves moving asylum seekers to large accommodation sites like this and away from costly hotels in towns and cities.
Since 2018, illegal migration into the UK has skyrocketed, with recorded entries by boat, land and air increasing year after year. 13,500 were recorded in 2018, rising to 19,000 in 19, 29,000 in 20 and 45,000 in 2021. By 2022, the number hit 50,000, climbing again to 52,000 in 2023 and just over 62,000 in 2024.
The government has lost control of our borders, and we can see that with the number of crossings there are across the channel in small boats. We have to stop that. And I think the only way to stop that is to smash the gangs that are running this vile trade.
Now in 2025, thousands more have already arrived. We are already up 15% on last year's numbers, with no sign of the crisis slowing down. These are just recorded figures. Many more go undetected. The crisis continues to spiral, straining the resources, exposing the government's corrupt failure to secure the borders.
Well, first of all, it is an extraordinary site. It's enormous because of obviously the history of the site, what it was used for, in terms of it once being an American base. So there are lots of physical and logistical challenges here, number one. The site is so big that actually the Home Office, and it is the Home Office, they are spending vast sums of money.
So what is the initial cost of running this camp? Well, a figure in the beginning was plucked out of thin air, 6 million. Although the projected cost by 2027 is over 500 million. That's £500 million. In a country where our own elderly can't afford heating, where veterans sleep rough, where working class Brits, and that's the English, the Welsh, the Scottish and the Northern Irish, are struggling to survive. And yet the government tells us there's no money for them.
And I think it's really important to understand that, the Home Office, their role is effectively to bring in subcontractors to provide services. So there's a massive catering company that has been brought in to be here on site with their staff to obviously provide meals. There's also a medical facility here, which, by the way, is a private facility. It's not the local NHS, but we're still talking about potentially the Home Office are paying for that, but it is a facility that, ironically, the local NHS has been told to pay for, and they are refusing to pay for that NHS facility, the medical facility and provision here, because of course it means money from their budget, which would mean money would go from local communities for NHS services to come straight here.
Well, there's talk that that population is about to double from 800 illegal migrants to 1,700 illegal migrants. A village where there's a bus shelter, which I'm currently standing in. A couple of churches, a village shop, and not much else. Is it really a suitable place for fighting-age men to be housed? I came to Wethersfield to see what was really happening, to ask questions, but instead of transparency, I found a guarded compound locked down like a military base. The government doesn't want you to see what's inside because what's happening here is a national scandal. You guys are obviously manning this one.
Right. So they've got different entrances. That's why I need to find out exactly where you are.
So what's this entrance used for?
Depending exactly.
On what?
But I don't think we're allowed to speak to the press though. If you've got anything, I probably need to speak to my supervisor anyways.
Is he about?
Yeah.
I thought let's approach this base from a different angle. This being a ex-military base, ex-RAF base, I figured it would be appropriate to, because multiple routes are used, and lo and behold, 2 security guards, possibly 3, are now in that hut having a conversation whether they should have a conversation with me. Hopefully they will. I've parked up the car here, but my guess is I will probably be denied. They're probably going to hide there. CCTV apparently, I don't see it. Somewhere there's CCTV. Are you the supervisor? No. Were you coming out to speak to me? I'll come in a while. Sure. There we go.
One of the biggest gripes in Wethersfield is the poor bus service for villagers who basically have no public transport at all because current provisions are so bad. Migrants, however, at the RAF base have been bussed in and out of the site all day, every day. Councillor Mark Alt, should we call them? Let's see if they're around.
Also see lots of what look like 12-seater minibuses coming in and out on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah,
and
seen them.
That service, at a huge taxpayer expense, is much better than the bus service that I'm working on this afternoon to try and improve.
Yeah, we've seen all the buses coming in and out of the village, and I guess ferrying them to Braintree and beyond. And yeah, the locals we've spoken to have said, well, hang on a minute, we haven't even got our own bus service, or one that is there but doesn't really work.
While ordinary Britons struggle with train strikes, rising fares and unreliable public transport, illegal migrants enjoy a daily shuttle service. Buses ferry them in and out of Chelmsford and Braintree. Where they go, no one knows, but it's clear this isn't detention, this isn't processing, this is a taxpayer-funded holiday. Hi mate, I'm good, yeah.
His phone is not connecting right now, so what is it?
I am here to basically sort of get comments on the fact that there's a decision being made on Thursday about the expansion of this base. I'm just wondering if you guys are preparing for that moment. Is everything in order?
For that, we have no idea for that. You know, it's whatever it is. I'll let him know to get to my supervisor and he can tell you. If you have some sort of appointment or something.
I don't. I was trying to get an appointment. Is there a good number I can reach someone on? I can call them.
Sorry to say.
You must have a main number. Like, who do you call for when you need to speak to that guy?
Which guy?
The person the person that's currently...
Yeah, it's the supervisor. I'll just call him and let him know that.
Oh, yeah, so is it possible to get his number?
No. We are not allowed to give you the numbers of supervisor.
How many people are working on the base?
I have no idea.
How many people are your colleagues? Hey mate, how many people are you... How many people do you work with? The men inside this camp didn't arrive here by accident. They came here illegally, crossing the English Channel in small boats, aided and abetted by our own corrupt government. Instead of being turned away, they were welcomed, ferried across in taxpayer-funded rescue missions. And where did they go? 3-star hotels.
In Altrincham near Manchester, residents have just discovered that hotel bookings, meetings and even wedding receptions have been cancelled. And without warning to locals, 300 male asylum seekers have started to move in.
4-star hotels.
Yep, as you can see on the screen there, Kevin, it is, let's face it, it looks like the kind of hotel you'd be delighted to have a wedding reception. There's a plush bar you can see on your screen there, ample seating area. It looks incredibly salubrious. Look at it, it's a sculpted architecture finished interior.
Bases like this. To stay at this old RAF US Air Force base, it's costing the taxpayer a princely sum of £150 a night. That's paid for by you, not the government. The government doesn't actually have any money. The money they are spending is your hard-earned money, and they are taking your country away and they are rinsing your pockets. And yes, you should be angry.
What about off camera? Maybe I can film your dog and you can talk.
Oh, sorry.
No?
But everyone's just lied to us, haven't they?
Yeah, hence the reason I decided to come down. Well, come up is.
I don't know what's happening at the base anymore. When you're a pensioner, think back that when you've got, I think there's about 800 up there at the moment, I'm not sure, that are being cared for, paid by our government.
3 meals a day.
And they've got the nerve to tax me on my pension.
Yeah.
Which is, in this country, it's one of the worst.
It's a pittance, and I mean no offence by that.
And that's what I feel about this government.
Yeah.
And they all lied to us. So who do you turn to? You know, you give up.
Don't give up. I understand your feelings, but don't give up. That's what I say.
Okay.
Anyway, thank you for stopping. Yeah. Have a good day.
The consequences of this mass migration experiment are already being felt across the country wherever these camps and hotels appear. Crime skyrockets, burglaries, assaults, and even rapes, all swept under the rug by a media desperate to protect this agenda.
In terms of things around this village, there isn't too much going on. There's a wedding venue on the edge of the village. There's a primary school just over here, so there really isn't too much to report. It's a cold day, it's a Sunday. I must say, this is a very beautiful, beautiful church. We've got the bell ringers here, visible. You don't normally see that in an English church. Right at the back, the bell ringers to be seen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bells. Really, really beautiful. And look at this old timber ceiling. It is a really, really beautiful church, and the fear is that this place is wide open on a Sunday. I just walked in, and it's very beautiful, as you should be able to walk into any church, but it's very, very beautiful. Well, I mean, you've got beautiful dogs, by the way. Are they with us?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
But Freddie can be a bit jumpy.
Oh,
so I have
jumpy
to be
Freddie.
with him.
That's all right. Maybe I could film the dog while I talk to you. Is that all right? Yeah, that's that.
He'll be famous.
Do they race?
No.
No, they race. The name's Alex. I'm an independent journalist. I'm also known as the Wandering Englishman. Wethersfield, your village. I presume you've probably lived here for a while.
Yeah, 19 years.
19 years.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on the changes? Because it was a barracks, wasn't it?
Yeah. Well, I don't like it, obviously, but I live just down there in a cottage on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
And we're kind of immune to it, really. We don't really see them. I've seen a few in the summer, sort of walking to Finchingfield, but apart from that, don't really see anything.
So is that because it is actually far enough away that they don't venture out?
I think so, and there's always reports of loads of police cars and ambulance, but I think because they're coming from the Braintree way and then they turn left, they sort of don't come past our house.
Okay.
So we don't really.
Okay, so maybe GB News was maybe over-exaggerating.
I don't know what GB News said.
Well, they showed a lot of security footage, people on doorbells. There was one chap trying to break into someone's fence.
Yes, but that was ages ago. That was probably about a year ago or something. No, it was at the end of last summer actually, because it was my Pilates teacher that happened to. You know, really scary for her.
Of course.
But other than that, and I read something about Blake's dad, and he was driving his car and somebody got on the bonnet of his car. I've got a teenage daughter, and I was really worried about her when there were reports that it was going to be there. But I mean, she doesn't really go out anyway until she's how old is she? 17. So
17,
she doesn't really go out in the village. So my daughter goes to school in Saffron Walden, so she'd sort of go there, or she doesn't really.
So Saffron Walden's the nearest sort of place, and that's far enough away to.
Yeah, we can go to Braintree.
That's where my sister went to school as well. So.
What's Saffron Walden?
County High, yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, that's where Mimi goes.
There you go.
Didn't you go there?
No, I didn't. I was up in Cambridge, but I've now come up from London today to sort of cover this story. Yeah. So there's a report that suggests that they're going to be making a decision on Thursday about doubling the number of people there. Gosh. Is that, I sense by your reaction, you didn't know that?
No.
Okay, so at the moment there's suggesting there's 800 at the site. It's gone up from like 570 to 800. Now they're suggesting they might make way for 1,700. Well, 1,700 in total.
It was originally, wasn't it?
Yeah.
At the very start, they said it was going to be 1,700. But I think it's just so annoying that Fleming Keir Starmer was sort of against it, and now he's going to put even more in. And you've seen the size of the village, and there's absolutely nothing here.
It was about 1,200 people here, is that right? Well, from the last time.
Cool.
It's a nice village.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a typical village around this sort of area. Sort of. I guess the fear that some people have had, when the weather improves, people going to
come out, and if there's going to be double, double trouble, as they say.
Yes, yeah. And one person commented that there isn't really much in terms of bus services around here.
Well, they get a free bus.
Yeah, they get buses.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah.
But they get free buses to go to, I don't know, Braintree and Chelmsford.
And also it's suggesting that it's costing £150 per night per guest.
That's expensive hotel, isn't it?
That is expensive.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering your thoughts on that.
Well, just flabbergasted really that it's all going on there and they can't look after their own people, you know?
Yeah.
The UK. Yeah, and I think what I find most upsetting is that there's so many houses for sale and nobody can sell their house here.
Are people having problems with that now?
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yeah.
Has that just been in the last year? Or?
Yes.
Okay. So the impact of the new neighbours is causing an impact on prospective sales.
Yeah. And it doesn't help with all the reports in the newspaper saying all this stuff. You know, people don't want to move here, but yeah, if it comes to it, you know, we might want to move away to a different country, which would be nice.
Yeah.
But we won't be able to sell. You know, we might be able to sell our house. I don't know. I know it's really difficult.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for stopping, and thank you for allowing me to, well, I guess film your dog. Well, I think the dog came off. I'm now filming the hedge actually, so I wasn't like, but I got the dog for a brief period. So thank you.
We currently have 51,000 asylum seekers in hundreds of hotels right across the country at a cost of more than £6 million a day. That is unsustainable.
And while Britain crumbles under this crisis, the rest of the world watches and laughs.
How does a country go from ruling a fourth of humanity to struggling with basic stuff like healthcare, housing and wages?
Borrowing costs have reached a 27-year high.
The richest countries in the world, Saudi Arabia, the United Emirates, Qatar, don't take a single one of these individuals. They know exactly what mass migration does to a country. They wouldn't tolerate it for a second, yet our leaders roll out the red carpet.
Originally, we were given a good time period. It was a good couple of months period, but over the last few weeks that's all shuffled and we've almost been moved off the base now before the asylum seekers move on. For some families it's a week's notice. It's obviously quite hard for them. They're having to pack their whole lives up in a week.
And how do people feel about that?
Stressed. Stress sums it up perfectly. The phrase I'd like to use probably contains a swear word. I think appalled. Appalled is probably the nicer way to say it, let down. They've railroaded everyone with this. They haven't listened to us. they don't want to listen.
Wethersfield is just one example, one village, one base, but it is happening across Britain. The question is, how much longer will the British people tolerate this? How much longer will we fund our own destruction? This isn't about compassion, it's about survival. And if we don't stand up now, soon, there won't be an England left to defend. We were told this was temporary, that the numbers would go down, that they'd be sent back, yet every year more arrive. This is not an accident. This is a deliberate act of population replacement. The Great Replacement is a real thing. Anyone that denies it now is deluded. They are simply lying to you. They are stealing your money, erasing your communities, and silencing those who dare to speak out. Why are you not angry? Now, if you like this content, subscribe for real journalism the media won't touch. Share this video before it gets censored, and let's make this issue impossible for them to ignore. Stop being distracted by the sports and get out there and make yourselves heard.